raise our voices unless we show them that we've had enough. Mr. Netanyahu, want to hear the unmitigated call of such a person? He spoke not long ago at the site of the Auschwitz concentration camp. And you know what he said there? He had his own... I don't tell you how to run your economy. Please don't tell the rabbis how to interpret the Bible. Leave that to the people who know what they're doing. But this is what he said. The Navi Yechezkel had a prophecy. The prophecy said, Koyomar Hashem, I am going to open your graves and lift you out of your graves, my people, my Klal Yisrael, and bring you to the land of Eretz Yisrael. We know what that prophecy is referring to. But you know what that Netanyahu said? He said that this prophecy is fulfilled by the state of Israel. The only bones I see being lifted up today in the state of Israel are the ones unearthed by him and his lackeys, and instead of growing flesh and becoming live again, they're discarded as food and fodder for the dogs and vermin. And there, while this was happening in Ashkelon, in Jaffa, long-suffering men peacefully protested the base violation of human dignity and decency. Many of them were brutally assaulted. One 80-year-old man, a prominent religious leader, was tear-gassed and hospitalized. Children, minors, were left battered and bloody. This is a Jewish state? This is a democracy? More and more, Jews are gaining the courage to speak out against religious persecution of the so-called Jewish state. Just a few weeks ago, the cries of pain have summoned into convocation over 100,000 Orthodox Jews who joined their voices in public protest against the attempt by the Zionist courts to dictate religious standards for the religious education of our children. Is it too much to ask of a so-called Jewish state? Is it too reasonable to demand of a democracy that it provide its citizens with the basic liberties enjoyed by all free people all over the world? Have you no shame, Mr. Bibi? Are you not embarrassed? Are you not embarrassed? Because I'll tell you, I'm embarrassed that I have to come here today and blow the whistle. But what recourse have you given us? In every stage of these oppressions, we've attempted resolution in the most humble of ways. But our repeated attempts have been answered only by repeated injury. What are we to do? Are we to shove the abuse under the rug? Shall we allow the oppression to continue unabated? Must we remain silent while our religion, for which every single one of us here would gladly give our lives, and for which probably a number of those whose remains have been unearthed did give their lives, is violated over and over and over and over again? But the truth is, the Zionist government does persecute Orthodox Jews. They persecute Orthodox Judaism. But the worst crime, the the most insidious persecution that the state of Israel has ever perpetrated against the Jewish people happened in 1948, when they dared to call themselves the State of Israel. When they dared to refer to themselves as a Jewish state. You know, one day, some other country, not Israel, somewhere in Eastern Europe maybe, they're going to try to build maybe a mall or a parking lot over Jewish graves. And our great Askanim and the Asra Kadisha and others are going to go and be moicha. And you know what those countries are going to say? Well, if they did it in Israel, and Israel represents the Jews, then why can't we do it over here? Do you know that a week after the flotilla incident, Jews in Turkey were scared to leave their houses? They didn't even go to the synagogue because the local residents of Turkey blamed them and would hold them accountable for the acts of the State of Israel. That is the most insidious crime that state has committed against our people. The theft of our identity. We are the Jewish people. We are Israel here. We have been around for thousands of years practicing our religion. Scholars, laymen. They have not been around enough to collect Social Security. They are imposters. Everybody knows the history of Zionism. They weren't happy with the way Jews were. They had inferiority complex. They were not accepted by the religious Jews because they weren't religious, and they were not accepted by the non-Jews because they were Jews. They thought, in their great brilliance, that in order to eliminate anti-Semitism and in order to protect the Jewish people, we have to change what the Jewish people are from a religion, a mamleches kohanim, a goy kadosh, to a nation of soldiers and warriors. What in the world is a Jewish state? Can you tell me? I know what a Jewish person is. I know what a Jewish philosophy is. But the adjective Jewish does not accommodate the noun state. It's like saying a Jewish tree, a Jewish car. What does it mean? The only way the Zionists were able to create a Jewish state for the noun state to accommodate the adjective Jewish is to change the definition of Jewish. The hate, the seething, psychopathic hate that the Zionist has for the Jew is not born out of bigotry, and it's not born out of ignorance. It's born out of fear. Fear because they thought by now there would be none of us left. They thought that by now all the Jews in the world, or all that matter anyway, will be remade in their own image. That the world would be at peace with them. That they'd be able to vanquish their enemies with their armies. And now they see that we still live. They see that we are here and we are rapidly expanding, and they see that we raise our voices. They see that they are a failure. And that's why they hate us.